Hello everyone, my name is Chance, as in Fat Chance or Take a Chance, and this is my very first gameplay video. And this is STALKER Call of Pripyat mod, Misery 2.0. And I'm playing on patch 2.02, new game with the quick fix. I'm going through my settings here for you in case you're curious. I'm using DirectX 11, full enhanced dynamic lighting, with the settings turned to the maximum. With the exception of anti-aliasing, which I've set at 2x instead of 4x. And I also have the gameplay settings set at default, so this means hardcore AI aim and infinite NPC ammo. Now I have to warn you, I have a decent computer, but it is by no means state of the art, and I'll throw my specs in the video details down below. So my video will probably lag occasionally as I record. I am recording with Fraps, and I have the frame rate up on the upper right hand corner because I kind of want to monitor my frame rate and make sure that it stays fairly consistently at least 30 frames per second. Another warning, there are some pretty ugly stuttering issues in this game, but it's not entirely caused by the graphics engine and settings being just too much for your video card. It's more due to NPCs and mutants being loaded around the map as you move around. Which can actually kind of be a useful indicator, which I'll get into later as we play. I've decided to do these videos for a number of reasons. Firstly, I love the STALKER games. I love FPS games and role-playing games in general, but the STALKER games are pretty much completely different from almost anything I've ever played. They're non-linear, open-ended FPS games. With an equipment / inventory / currency system that adds in a little bit of RPG flavor. Enemies are randomly generated so that each time you play it, it can be a little bit different. It's mission based with main story missions and several available side missions. Available from the different NPCs that you can interact with. There's no experience or levels or skill trees. You're really just fighting to stay alive, complete missions and looting to sell stuff, just to get money for better guns and equipment. Second reason I've decided to create these videos is that Misery 2.0 is the most current and probably eagerly awaited of all the STALKER mods. And having just been released on July 30th, now this game, Call of Pripyat, which is the third game in the STALKER series, is about 3.5 years old. So that right there tells you how much of a fan base and cult-like following this game still has, that's being played and modded 3.5 years after the release of the final game in the series. Now the third reason I've started creating these videos is that I've looked around on YouTube and there aren't a whole lot of playthrough videos around for this. And I think the most popular video I've seen for it is by the YouTube user Robez, which I recommend because he's just hilarious and entertaining to listen to. Also, WTF Sexy Headphones also put her own playthrough up, and I recommend that one as well because not only is she also hilarious and entertaining, she gives a good sense of just how difficult the game is, because she started pretty much on a blind playthrough. Now my favorite parts are probably when the mutants just suddenly spring up out of nowhere and tear her to pieces and she literally just screams. But anyways, getting back to the reason I'm doing these videos is because I've noticed that all these other gameplay videos are more of a let's play entertainment variety than an actual sort of informative walkthrough or survival guide. And I'm certainly not the best STALKER player or even the best FPS player, but I was able to hold my own and complete all 3 STALKER games on the hardest difficulty, which is Master. That being said, Misery still kicks my ass. I die constantly. This game is like Demon Souls or the Dark Souls FPSs. It can be extremely frustrating, but also extremely rewarding and fun at the same time. So I do die quite a bit, I save quite often, and I've also edited out my deaths because I don't want you guys like sitting here watching me do a 20-minute video where I'm just dying 10 times in a row. And it's probably going to take up a lot of hard drive room too, so that's another reason. I've already played Misery 2.0 up to the point where I was ready to leave for Pripyat and had my team ready in my SIVA suit. And the only reason I started over is that I noticed that after I applied patch 2.0.2 and the quick fix patch for the saved games, my game just became really unstable and it started to crash quite a bit. So I decided, you know what, let's just start over and use what I've learned to help some other people who may be trying to play this game and are getting too frustrated because they have no idea what they're supposed to do. Now you see when I started out that I looked behind me on the bed and there was a backpack next to it. You're going to want to grab that and the items in it because it gives you at least one good condition handgun. It might be a worn handgun, but at least the condition's still pretty decent. I believe it's 100%, so you're going to want to grab that and you're going to want to take that ladder up here and grab those items too. I go to this back entrance here and kind of look around and make sure there's no zombies nearby that are going to shoot me in the face. When the coast is clear, I drop down and I just start running straight for maybe about 20, 30, 40 meters. Then I'm going to start turning to the right and cutting across the swamp. And it's a little bit foggy, which is kind of to our advantage, but it kind of sucks trying to navigate and find where you're supposed to be going, especially with no UPD for your PDA. So you can't kind of pull the map up and check where you're at because you have nothing. You started with your knife and your flashlight, your identification card, and that was about it. So you're going to run across the swamp. You'll come to this sort of middle plateau or island or whatever you want to call it. I usually go around the northern end of it. Right next to the swamp, but kind of staying on the ground so that you can move a little bit faster and a little more quietly. You're gonna want to try and listen and see if you can hear any mutants. Try to get a good idea where they are, to your right, to your left, in front of you. You're gonna want to avoid them because at this point you're pretty much defenseless. I'm pretty lucky so far. It might be because of the fog, but you'll notice that I haven't really come across anything yet. Right there. You'll hear mutants sort of to my right. Just gotta keep your eyes open, look for movement, make sure you're not close to anything. And you can pretty much just keep running constantly because you don't have that much weight on you. You have those items you grabbed in your room, and ooh, that was close. The fleshes are sometimes they'll attack you, but usually they just run away. So if you hear fleshes, each of these mutants have their own sort of distinctive sound. You're probably okay, as long as you don't hear a snork or you don't hear dogs or something that can run really fast and usually attack you. Now I followed this hill past the pier on the north side, and it kind of wraps back around and starts going south once again. And once it starts going south, you're going to want to cut to the left a little bit. Just try to go a little bit southeast. And a good idea, a good rule to follow is that if you see those giant pipes, the Skadovsk, what you're looking for, is sort of where those two pipes dead end. And so if you've seen the pipes, you've either gone too far west or too far east. Just turn and follow the pipes, and you should eventually get here. So I'm going to stop here and save it, and I'll see you guys on the next video, and thank you for watching.